Okay, live feed. In red like always. Loves to be in red. No idea why. So the health of my live stream seems to always start in red, moves its way to orange, then to green, then back to orange, and back to green, and on and on and on. But anyhow, I guess that's just a fact, right? But with that, yep. With that, yep. Could I email you a link? Jeff Ashton. Yes, I suppose I could do that. You have to give me a couple minutes, and I'll see what I can do to get you a link, okay? So bear with me, and I'll see what I can do to get you a link. I know it's going to play with me. Okay, so to Jeff Ashton, I got a question mark for you. Do you still have the phone number that I gave you? I told you to save. If you still have that phone number, you're going to need to use that phone number, okay? And just in case, give me a second, and I will pull up the phone number just in case you don't got it. As soon as my phone cooperates, that is, I will. Okay, put that down there. There we go. So anyhow, no, I didn't put the information in here. I just sent it to the email I already have of you where you emailed me. So if you go to that email, you will find it. I just sent it out. Let me make sure we get the same email you put in here. Yep. So you should have an email with an ID number and a phone number if you want to join in on this, okay? I just put that out to you. So anyhow, I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, the topic, social engineering. That's right. So I've been saying and screaming it for years to people, and it's the truth. Doesn't matter if you want to hear it or not, it is the absolute truth. Okay? When it comes to females in the friend zone, that is social engineering. When it comes to guys saying that men and women can never or not be just friends, that's not possible. That is social engineering. That is people falling for the brainwashing that society has put onto you. And then when you sit there and you can't figure out why relationships fail, why you're being rejected, the women sit there and can't figure out why they're 3, 4, 5 marriages in, and sometimes they just give up and they want to blame it on the men, and the men want to blame it on the women, and it goes on and on and on, blaming one another. And that's exactly what takes place on a regular basis. And it's all been socially engineered. So I've been trying to tell people for years. But getting people to understand the truth is hard to do. Because they want to believe what they've been fed, what they've been programmed to believe, which is lies. And unfortunately, because of social engineering and programming in your television set, they have done a really good job of destroying the genders, destroying the family unit, breaking up the genders, causing division amongst the genders. They have done a wonderful job. A very, very wonderful job. And I don't know what else to tell you other than that is the fact. Okay? And so, with that being said, of course, I'm doing this live stream because I felt that this topic needs to be talked to about a little bit more. Okay? Let me make sure my email went out to him, which it did. So my email did go out to him. So Jeff Ashton should have the information to be able to get into this live stream if he wants in. Okay? And that's all I was checking there real quick. I'm going to double check it because that's how I am. I don't want him to think that I've blown him off or didn't send it to him. So I'm rechecking my stuff here. And unfortunately, I have to pause the live stream. Well, not pause it, but I have to look it over and make sure I sent the right information to him so that he can come into this live stream. Okay, that looks to be the right information, so I'll go with that. Just double checking my own self. Not in service don't make sense. Okay, hold on one second. I don't know if I messed up giving it to you, but I will check that for you right now because it don't make sense that it would not be in service, Jeff. Okay, so let me do something real quick here. Okay, Jeff, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the number in here. I didn't put the ID and I won't put the ID in here, but I will put the number in here for you. Okay? I'll quit that phone. Okay, use that ID I sent you. I just dialed the number myself, and that is the right number. Okay, just so you know, I dialed the number myself. That is the correct number. And you got the ID number. I put it in the email. So dial that number, follow the prompts, and enter that ID number, and you should have no problem being in here. With that being said, we'll go onward. So, until people can get it through their heads that men and women have to first be able to become friends, because it's through being friends that you find real love. And because you like a woman, you're sexually attracted to a woman, and you meet a woman, does not guarantee you that you're going to be compatible, that you will be able to fall in love with this woman. People's perception of love today is actually lust, not love. That's correct. The majority of people in today's society are in lust, not love. Love is something that happens only between a female and male who first become friends. And only in time, from being friends and hanging together and doing things together, they find themselves in love. Love is something you cannot buy. Love cannot be bought. Okay? And sexual attraction is not love. Real love does exist, but in today's society, your chances of finding real love is like finding a dinosaur egg, because nobody knows what they're doing, because they're all going by social engineering. And the social engineering was designed to destroy your chances of ever finding real love, to break down the family unit, to destroy the genders, and the cause the division is caused. That is what real love has done. Okay? That's because your idea of real love in today's society is, for women, it's a lot emotionally materialistic, and for guys, it's mostly lust. For some women, it's also lust. This myth that women do not like sex as much as men do is just what it is, a myth. Well, hello, Jeff.
Hey, Bill, thanks so much for having me on your show again.
Yes, I appreciate you being here. I heard you chime in, so that's the reason I
Yeah,
told you. That's the reason I told you to keep that phone number, to bookmark it in your phone. Okay, and I'm not going to use my main ID because that stays the same. So I've set it to random IDs so that I can send an ID to somebody and they can call into the show. I don't want to invite trolls into the show, you know. I put the phone number out, but without the ID, they can't get in.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's just so many people out there that I guess it makes them happy to just cause chaos and try to disrupt what other people are doing. And it's not even that, it's not even like, TFLers aren't really doing anything bad to the world. It's just guys getting together and just talking about what's going on in their lives, and how their life is going, and why somebody would want to disrupt that and cause a bunch of chaos and make farting noises. I just don't understand the mentality of these people.
Well, you know, Jeff, unfortunately, their mentality is everything's a game, a sport, an arena. And it's like they despise the fact that we come up and we talk about real life issues. And they despise it. Some of these guys are TFLers themselves, and they're in denial of what they're going through. And they hate hearing what they're going through from somebody else, even though that somebody else is living it. So rather than acknowledge it, they lie to the public, they lie to the world, and they say that they've got this life they haven't got because they're creating their fantasy life in their head. and that's what they're telling the world they are when they're not, okay? And then you come along
Yeah.
and talk about what they're going through, and it fires them up and they get mad. And so, yeah, they want to come in here and troll you just because they don't like the fact that you're honest and they're deceivers.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. I guess that's like the strongman narrative, but it seems like, I mean, at some point you would just acknowledge what's actually happening to you, and that, I mean, even attractive men, like I've even heard attractive men tell me that they really struggle. Like they can't, like they can find a girl. Like I've talked to really attractive men who can, who are tall and they have good facial structure and they like make decent money. And even they tell me that they get treated like shit and they can't find a real partner and they're just they
Well,
feel like
that's just it.
disposable.
Well, that's exactly it. It's I've tried and I've screamed this at people for years now that if they ever want to find a real meaningful relationship, they have to understand first off that dating was never about putting your dick in a hole. That dating was about two people meeting each other of the opposite gender and getting to know one another. And
Yeah,
back in the day when people knew what they were doing, they would meet somebody, go on a date together. If they didn't have things they clashed, they wouldn't date again. And other people they would date, they might date for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years even. And people say, why would somebody date that long? Well, that's because you become friends. Friends, that's
yeah.
right,
One of the
friends with a female. And once you become
yeah
friends, then you can't find, I mean, love isn't something that you can buy. It isn't something that can be sold. It isn't something that just, I mean, love happens, but it only happens between a female and a male who become friends. Okay, most of the
yeah
relationships in today's society is based out of lust, not love.
Yeah, Bill, when you say that, it just really makes me so sad because I'm a 38 years old. I'm um a little bit younger than you, and in my pretty much high school, like my whole life, I've never, except for in middle school, I had some girls who I would consider true friends, but after middle school, maybe because of like the the social conditioning, I can't really relate to women and be real friends with them. Like, yes, I've been able to go on dates and get sex and stuff like that, but I've never since middle school been able to have a true friendship with a woman because I feel like we're just so disconnected and we're so different because of like the brainwashing and I'll admit right now I don't have any female friends and the ones I do have are so brainwashed and so different from me that I just can't really. I don't feel I can relate to women on like a personal level besides just sexual attraction because they're just so different. I
That
mean, does
is,
does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. Well, it does because of you have to look. People have to step back and they have to really look at what's taking place in society. And the majority of all of this is social engineering. And it just shows how wonderful of a job they've done with the social engineering because you're unable to connect in a relationship with a female. And I'm not talking about marital status or being with her, but just being friends. Okay,
No,
you're unable to connect with that. Okay, when you said disconnect, that's really what it is. It's disconnect.
yeah, it's almost like they've been like women have been just bombarded with all this negative TV shows and radio and messages from parents and single moms and all of this stuff to where when a woman meets you, she's already got these like preconceived ideas that evil, and you have like intent to do her harm or oppress her before she even knows you. And it's even if she does get to know you, she still has all that stuff in her head just a constant bombardment to where you can. I don't think a woman ever really trusts a man.
Well, let's back up a minute, Jeff, and let's think about why that would be with a woman. Because if you really pay attention to what's been going on, all you got to do is pay attention to what happens to a woman when she's a little child, a little female girl. Okay? She's
Hmm.
bombarded by a television set that pushes male shaming, male shaming, male shaming, male shaming. Everything she's told off of sitcoms and movies is men are less than she is, okay? Then she's told with gender roles that the man, okay, is the provider and protector.
Hmm.
And then you take feminism and you put all the male shaming that's went into that. So if you take all of the social engineering from pampering the female, placing her on the pedestal, giving her all of her wants, her not being accountable for her own behaviors, okay? And then you take
Hmm.
all the male shaming that's been plastered through the media for years now, okay? And you put this into a little girl that's growing up. Her perception of men is growing up based on everything that's been pushed in her face.
Wow.
So this is the perception she has of men from the very beginning. And it's not her fault, and it's not your fault. It's technically all of our faults for allowing this type of shit to be pushed in our faces.
Yeah, and that's the thing I even think about with like my own kid is like it's so much easier as a parent to just let the kid watch YouTube or TV all day versus turning all that and having real interaction.
Well, unfortunately, there is a lot of people, unfortunately, that they get so wrapped up in their own lives and they have children that the TV
Hmm.
set becomes their perfect babysitter. Don't bother me right now. I'm busy doing this or I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And if the TV
Yeah, and I
set
mean,
or the video game keeps the child occupied, then the child's not under
yeah,
the parent's skin. So now the parents
hmm,
finds that as a coping mechanism. And what is that television
yeah,
set doing for that child? It's destroying them.
yeah. It's a constant, like for me, it's a constant struggle when I 40 or 50 hours a week because the kids they just want to watch YouTube and TV and movies.
Yeah, it's
And
sad because if you
it's
went back to when I was a child, the kids wouldn't be watching
hmm,
TV because when I was a child, there was no such thing as cable vision. There was no cell
hmm,
phones at all, and there was no computers at
yeah,
all. And I had
hmm.
channel 4, channel 6, and channel 8 was the only TV channels we had. Though that's it. That's all
Yeah,
our antenna. We had an antenna on our roof, and the line ran down off the roof into the house, and two little wires that screwed onto the two screws in the back of the TV. And that's what I grew up with. And then when I was about 16 or so, Cablevision come out, and they brought this
hmm,
cable in, and they had a cable, regular cable like you got nowadays, but they screwed an end on it that had two little wires on the end with the prongs on it that went under your thing on your TV because TVs wasn't even ready for cable yet, okay? And
yeah,
we got 17 channels and we were like, wow, 17 channels, this is awesome, and back in the day and that's really what it was. You did, but you still did not have cell phones. You did not have computers. And so, the children really, what they done then was they went outside and played. They socialized with
yes,
their friends. They got
yeah.
together
They
with
learned how
friends.
to
Yes.
interact with each other. Yeah,
And so you had a lot more interaction with people. Okay, now that's gone. So when you talk about disconnect, that's exactly what it is. It is disconnect because you don't have that
yeah,
socializing now. Now people's idea of socializing is I'm on Xbox, or I'm on PlayStation and I'm playing online with my friends that are on the other side of the globe or on the other side of the United States that you never meet in person.
Yeah, and you know, sort of the saddest part about it, which is I do believe there's a overarching agenda, is that the shows that are marketed to really young children, like Disney and Nickelodeon and a few others, those are the most evil, brainwashing type of television. The ones that are actually targeted
Well,
at
like,
children.
that's correct. They're targeted at children, okay? And people don't stop and think about it. Even what's targeted at the female gender. Think about it. You grow up as a female and you're pampered and you're spoiled by your parents. And as your little brother, maybe you got a little brother and he's told right away he's never lay his hands on you, okay? And
Yeah,
you watch the favoritism that's played in the home, and you discover that the majority of the time that little girl is being favorited by the parents over the boy. The boy's being
you
thrown under the bus in the majority of cases.
you know, I think about that, and I feel like that's why it's so important that if you do have kids, that you stay, no matter how fucked up the bitch is, because I feel like nowadays the role of a father is somewhat to just protect his kids from the mother.
Unfortunately, as sad as it is because you got to realize that the little girl now has grown up in a world where she's been pampered and spoiled and she's got entitlement issues. She believes she's old shit. She's not old. Okay. She believes that you're her provider as she picked you as a man. You're her
Hmm.
provider now, okay? You're basically her
Yeah,
ATM machine, you're her slave. Okay? That's basically
yeah,
what you are. You're nothing more than that. You watch the emphasis in society or the perception is it's women that we got to protect because it's women that have children. It's women that have children. And the women are the one that have children. The women are the one. But you don't never hear them acknowledge that the woman couldn't have a child without the man. And that's deliberately done because,
correct.
and that is deliberately done. That's not an accident. You put all the emphasis and all this, you put all the focus on she is the one that has it. She is the one that has it. And you never acknowledge that it took both parties to do it. And then through doing that, you disconnect. Okay. And that's exactly what you got going on there. You have more disconnects. You know
Y-
how many women you see that I am the one that has the kid and they act like they're the sole owner or the sole blah, blah, blah and without her, you could have never had a child. And they'll act this way, okay? There would be no children in this world if it wasn't for us women. And these women have a lot of their minds when they say this stuff because without the semen to fertilize the egg, she will never have a baby.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thinking it's just weird that, having a child, like the most natural thing in the world that all humans have done for, billions of years, to say, "Oh, I had a child," like that's some great feat. Well, that's just the natural order of things. That's just a normal thing to do that
It is.
pretty much every woman's able to do. There's nothing that makes you special because you can get knocked up. Yeah, but the glorification of just something that's just so natural and so human and just so normal and just the order of our life. I don't understand the glorification of this because it's a natural thing that I assume if women weren't programmed into these careers and wanting to be a career woman and all this stuff, that would be the the natural thing
Well,
that
here's
every woman
here's
would
here's your
would do.
here's where your glorification came from, Jeff. Okay, think about
Okay.
this. Gender roles has been designed so that the man does all the approaching and all the oppressing, right? So it's your
Yeah.
job to approach and impress the woman. Then you take a society that's placed the woman above the man and men putting the woman above themselves, okay? And then you over
Hmm.
sexualize society and you put women as cheerleaders for a sport team, okay? Models and you fucking fashion industry and all this stuff. It's the combination of
Hmm.
all kinds of things that's taking place. So then what's happened is you got a society where women are actually doing the choosing and men ain't. Okay? And because of the modeling industry and Hollywood and all the combination of things put together, the women are very picky about who they want to be with. Okay, right? And so then you have the
Yeah.
80-20, which anymore I think is more like not 80-20 no more. It's more like 90-10 or 85-15. Okay. And so when you got this going on, what you got is you got women that are chasing after that, only that percentage of men. That leaves a whole lot of men that never get a woman. Okay. Now
Well, yeah.
the
Well,
women know
definitely
this. Okay.
because they're like able to do that because they never choose one guy and stay with him. So a a beautiful woman from age 16 to 40 can just just like run through these chads, and it's just like they just keep switching. And I feel like women are more willing to share. Like a woman would rather share a top guy with 100 other women than be with an average guy. And now I think it's even gotten worse because now these women they're sharing chads with maybe 30 guys a year because they're less sexually motivated than guys are. But it's like they're even just it's like the chads now they've got like all these women in their like harem, but like the women are like keep switching chad harems,
That's because
and
they,
but still the
yeah, that's because they turned it into sort of, one thing you could call it is the hookup scene. Okay, that okay,
yeah hookup scene, yeah.
you're a Chad, so you got the privilege of having this hot woman in your life for a couple, 3, 4, 5 years, but then once she's through using you like a hamburger, she's gonna crumble you up. You're a rapper now and throw you away. She's done with you, and she can move on to her next. And these Chads
Yeah,
are
but
all
they're
enjoying it
also,
because they're getting the same perks.
hmm but yeah, also, I mean, a lot of these like hookups are taking place where the woman meets the Chad and they have sex the first day. They have sex for
Yes,
like a day, 3 days, and then the woman jumps on
she jumps ships and
another
jumps on
Chad.
another. Yes, and
It's so quick. It's so quick now. It's so fast moving.
it's quick, it's fast moving, and it also goes to their advantage because you see some of these hot women out here, and they decided this: if I get pregnant by this guy over here, and then I go have get pregnant by this guy over here, and then this guy over here, and this guy over there, and this guy over there, they're looking at the fact that financially wise, through the government, this is a
Hmm
paycheck from every single one of these guys.
Yeah, Bill, I actually dated a girl back when I was single, and this woman had like I think she had 3 or 4 kids already. I was desperate back in the day. I'm not gonna lie because it was always a struggle for me
Well,
to find any woman.
Jeff. One of the reasons I have respect for you is because you're honest.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
you're not
I
afraid to say it. You're being brutally honest, like Steve Oka, like myself. Okay, like David, who comes in here, I've had Rob on here once with me. Okay, he's very brutally honest about what it is. He's not going to sugarcoat anything, and he tells it as it really is. Okay, and
yeah, well, thank you.
I have respect for you for that because I am very honest with people, and I don't come up here to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. Okay, and that's just the way I am, and this is why I have respect for you because what I've seen of you so far is you're being very honest. Even
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
mean,
guys wouldn't even say what you just said now. They would
yeah,
sugarcoat
well,
that or lie. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, they want to act like, oh, they can get any girl they want, but I mean, I'm telling people the truth, and it's a reality that's, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like my life, in my 20 from age 20 to 30, I was able to get girls, but the girls that I was able to get had 3 kids or were a little overweight, and like I wasn't able to ever get somebody like because I've got a mathematics degree, and like I was never able to date a girl that was my own age that was taking like the same class as I was. Like when I was in college, I had to date girls who weren't in college and were never gonna go to college and maybe had a few kids. because all the girls that were in my classes, they were
They were
just
dating up.
riding.
They were looking for
Yeah, they were dating
somebody
up.
dating up. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean that's just all I mean, and I don't see why people are so ashamed to just admit that this is all I can get. It's the reality. It's the way it is. All I was
For
able
fear of
ever.
yeah, but for fear of being ostracized, being made fun of, okay,
Yeah,
for fear of what other people might think of them.
yeah, but for me, it's like I just like being honest. I just like telling if all I can get is a girl with 2 or 3 kids, well, that's all I can get. That's the reality.
Well, the reality wasn't something you asked for or created. This is what these people don't understand. This has all been socially engineered. It's been deliberately done. It's no accident. It's a big
Hmm.
farce if you think you're going to call your congressman and change a law, because these laws, man made rules, I like to call them, are no accidents. They didn't just place, it's just like the Violence Against Women's Act. When it was wrote into the law that a man can never be a victim of domestic abuse, it was no accident. That was deliberate.
Yeah,
Okay, it's no
yeah,
different than as you being a man or me being a man. You can get breast cancer just like a woman, and most men don't realize this. And there is a good percentage of men who get breast cancer just like the woman does. And guess what? It's every bit as deadly for you as it is her. But the difference is this: if she's down and out and gets breast cancer, she's going to qualify for programs that will give her money for their phony treatment in the medical industry, right? But
yes,
you, as a man, do not qualify for them programs, so you better have the money out of your pocket.
yeah.
Okay?
Oh, so like what I was going to tell you was when I was dating this woman that like had 3 kids, and she happened to like really like me at the time. Uh, she got I think $850 food stamps every month,
Right.
and this bitch would like bring pizzas and like drop them off on my doorstep, and like frozen pizzas. She dropped them off on my doorstep, and it's like, so this woman had like $850 food stamps. She had like, the government gave her like I think 500 cash every month, and then on top of that, she was getting child support from one or two of the like 3 baby daddies. She was living better than me. She was feeding me, Bill.
This is true. This is very true. And the sad thing is it is come down to the point where there's a lot of women who know this, and they'll start thinking with the old tool, the tool. Okay? And they realize that if they have a baby or two by this daddy over here, and if they have a baby or two by another daddy and a baby or two by another daddy, you know, that's like 4 to 6 paychecks. Okay?
Yeah, this woman had money coming in everywhere with
Yes.
the various child support. I mean, one guy would stop paying for a
And then
while, but
they
then
can,
he'd start paying
yes, but
again.
then he'll start paying again because the law's going to go after him if you don't, right? And then
Yes.
she could get rid of these guys. She just got her paychecks from these different daddies now, and she can still pick out a guy because all these guys are so thirsty, so desperate. Because I mean, come on, we got millions and millions of men all over the world that are living TFL or incel. They can't get a woman in their life, and you got guys that are trying so hard to get a woman in her life. She still has all these choices, so she can pick out this guy who's going to pay her rent for, or pay her mortgage for, or do this and this for, not counting the child support she's got coming in. Okay? And if she's working a part time job and collecting that paycheck, and she's got the boyfriend who's giving up his money to be with her, and then she's collecting child support from all these different daddies, she's rolling in the money.
Yeah. Plus, they don't just give her child support and food stamps, $800 a month. They also give her cash. They also just give her straight up cash.
Now, but she has a limit on the cash now. Okay. At one time it
Yeah,
used to, well, one time it used to be that she could only get the cash. She could get the cash and have more kids and get more cash. Now they have a
Hmm.
limit on it. She don't matter where at in the United States you're at, she has 5 years that she can collect cash.
Okay.
Okay, after the end of that 5 years, she cannot collect cash no more.
Okay. Okay. But still, 5 years is a lot.
It is, it is. But you start adding up all the different options she has and the way she can go. The guy don't have any of these. You as the man could get her pregnant. That child's just as much yours as it is hers. She couldn't have had it without you, right? But you don't have no
Yeah.
say so. You have no rights. If she decides to go get an abortion and kill that kid, you cannot say, no, you're not killing my kid because the law ain't going to listen to you. So what? It's her kid, not yours. Okay? And if she has the
Yeah.
kid, she gets to have the kid. Most court systems immediately are going to say she gets the kid regardless if she's not a good parent at all. It don't matter. You're the guy, you're the one that's going to get screwed every time. And, it's sad. It shouldn't be this way, but it is because we, the people, have never stood up to these criminals.
It's true. Yeah. It's really sad. I remember when I got divorced. I felt like the whole world turned on me. Like the families turned on me, and like she was the victim, even though she basically just like ran away and like started cheating with for really no really good reason other than she wasn't completely 100% happy at the moment. And it's like her family acted like I was this like evil, emotionally abusive type person.
That's all
And
social
it was like,
engineering.
yeah, it's like I felt like the whole world's kind of converged.
It is, it
It's
is.
like I was just,
It's sort of like this. When you was with her family and her friends and your friends was all together and you were all happy, right? When she
yes,
divorced you, her friends and her family immediately sided with her. And even some of your own friends turned against you and sided with her. And you
you
became
know, Bill.
the abuser, the villain, the this, the that.
Yeah, let me tell you the saddest part is my own mother, because I was in a pool league. I I would play pool. I was on a team, and I played pool once a week for about 2 3 hours every Monday. Whenever I was
Mm-hmm.
married, I was in this pool league. It was just one of my hobbies that I enjoyed doing. And after I got divorced, my own mother, she said, "You were a shitty husband. You were always playing pool. You ignored her." And I never ignored my wife. I just happened to be a member of a pool league for 2 or 3 hours once a week. It was just a hobby, something I enjoyed doing. I had $1,000 pool stick. I had a few pool sticks, and I was on a team, and we'd compete, and we'd compete in the tournaments, and it was just something I enjoyed doing. But even, yeah, the society now is if you just have a hobby, that's considered evil. If
It's
you're a
it's
married man
evil.
that
It's
has
it's
any,
evil. It's ignoring her. It's taking time away from her. you know and unfortunately it's been designed this way deliberately, and it's not because you're evil, it's not because you're bad. I mean, put it this way: she can be the one that goes out and cheats, she could be the one that hits you, punches you, does whatever to you. She can do the
mhm,
abusing, the cheating, and everything, and when it's all said and done, you're going to be the one painted out as the villain and she's going to be painted out as the victim. Even if you're the victim, you will not be recognized as the victim, because if you say, look, she's been
exactly.
punching on me, they're going to laugh at you and point at you and say, what, you can't do, letting a woman beat you up. They'll come up with every cop out there is to justify her abusing you, but in the end you're still going to be the villain and she's still going to be the victim.
Yeah, yeah. And the second you hit her back, then you're going to jail
That's exactly how
because
it
she's
works, I mean, my
because she's
son's,
gonna call the police, and
yeah.
she's gonna cry. So you put on those Obama tears, and
Yep, that's it. Well, my son's mother never called the police. She was threatened to a couple of times. She attacked me one time. She literally grabbed me between, my legs, where, and
oh wow,
started twisting. And the only thing I remember of this particular day when she done this was I had literally ripped her hand off of my, what, and tossed her
Mhm.
ass onto the bed in our bedroom, which was a double bed, and the bed sailed across the room with her on it and it slammed into the wall. And I found myself
Mhm.
on top of her with my hand around her throat, and then I pulled my hand off, but I never hit her, okay? It was out of the aggression for the
Okay.
fact that she attacked me and did what she did, okay? So what you know what she done the next day? She went out and told everybody I hit her.
Oh wow.
And so then I was being questioned, why did I hit her when I never did? So then when I saw her, I says, so why are you telling everybody I hit you when I didn't? She says, why not?
Oh wow.
Okay. So there
Amazing.
was your answer. Why not? Okay. So then my answer to her was, because if you ever attack me again, you won't have to worry about falsely telling everybody I hit you when I didn't, because now you have opened the door. The next time you attack me, which you better not, I will hit you. This way you won't be lying when you
Oh
said I hit you. Oh, I got dirty looks when I
wow.
said that, but I was dead serious. You know, I was just dead serious.
Wow.
It's like when Jason was like 11 years old and we were sitting there watching. I don't know if you remember the movie um, with Bruce Willis, the last was it Die Hard Free or whatever, the very last Die Hard movie he made had just
I never seen it. Sorry.
yeah, well, it had just come out at that time. That Die Hard movie actually's got some really good info in it because it actually puts NWO right in your face. But anyhow, anyhow, that Live Free Die Hard, this chink gal is, beating the hell out of Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis strikes her back, and my son's sitting next to me, and he says, Dad, he can't hit her. And I looked at Jason and says, where did you learn this from? He says, school. So the
Oh,
following,
Bill.
so the following freaking Monday when he went back to school, I walked into that school and I wanted to talk to somebody while they're teaching my son, okay, this stuff and why you ain't teaching genders that nobody hits nobody. The first thing the school tried to tell me is we don't teach that. We only teach that nobody hits nobody. And then
Oh, you.
I called them on their behavior, and this counselor stood there and she says to me, well, we do not teach that stuff. So I don't know where your kid learned it. And I says, well, I'll tell you what, he didn't learn it at home. He didn't learn it from his television
Oh,
set. And he has I've never caught him lying to me. I know my son. When he said he learned it at school, I believe he did. So you're telling me you're teaching both that no gender is no gender, which I would agree with. But since he told me he learned it here, this is what I say to you. If a girl hits him, I'm going to tell him you hit her back.
you
Oh,
know, Bill.
if lust could
I was
kill, I'd
just
be
thinking of
dead. I'd be dead. That
Bill. You you know, Bill. I was just thinking about my first teaching job. I worked in the ghetto, and you just reminded me that there is some light at the end of the tunnel maybe here, because what I noticed in the ghetto school is these really ghetto kids, like living in like poverty. Like there was a lot of situations in our school where a girl would like push like a male student so far to where he literally lit the bitch up. I mean, knocked her the fuck out, knocked her teeth out. Like, and this was starting to become like a common thing, like where guys would knock these girls out, like literally knock them the
well,
fuck out. I mean,
I don't.
beat them like men.
Well, I don't agree with either gender hitting each other, but I will say this:
Hmm.
if she's going to double up her fist and deck you, you have a right to deck her back, and I don't
Yeah,
care what
and
anybody says.
that's exactly what was happening. Is like the girl would just push these guys so far, she'd slap them in the face and push them in the face and punch them in the face and demean the guys. And these are 15-year-old black kids who are stronger than us, that 200 pounds solid muscle. And you got these girls that these like black girls that are just pushing these kids, thinking that they can just treat these men any way they want.
They
slap
want
them
to
in the
dip.
face,
They want to dip
poke
all
them in the
over.
eye,
Well, you got gender.
and a
Well,
lot.
you got your system to blame for that because even parents have told their kids this. Then you heard it when Obama and Joe Biden stood there on Father's Day with their preach about all the fathers who abandoned the house, who ran away. The fathers who are abandoned their family. But what he didn't talk about was the wife that threw the father out, and the father didn't abandon his family. She threw him out. Okay? Then he wants to say there's absolutely no excuse to ever put your hands on a woman. Okay? But at the same token, you never heard him say that she shouldn't touch you. I'm not for anybody touching anybody. You keep your damn hands to yourself. Your gender has nothing to do with it. And if you're a woman and you're going to play into this and you're going to punch and hit on that man because you've been taught that he can't hit you back, when he hits you back, I'm not going to feel sorry for you at all, but I wouldn't condone him. Let's give you an example. She outright punches him, he punches her back,
Hmm.
I'm okay with that. But if he goes to town and just beats the living hell out of her and puts her in a hospital, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree either. But most of these situations I'm talking about is like the girl student is, demeaning the guy, talking shit about him, humiliating him in public, degrading him, and poking him in the eye,
Yes. Well,
and calling him racial
unfortunately,
slurs.
what you're talking about that I've seen in my face so many times. I've watched this in my life so many times. A woman who will have all their friends over, it'll be in a cookout, she'll be with her husband, and the wife and husband's there, and I'm at the cookout, and this woman's right there in front of all their friends, just degrading her husband to no end. Putting him down and humiliating and embarrassing him in front of all of her friends and getting her freaking power trip out of doing that crap, okay? I have
And
seen
then
this
all the
stuff.
women are rolling around laughing, thinking this is the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yes, exactly. And I've watched this stuff play out in my face several times in my life. And it fires me up every time I see it, because I'm like this, you know, and I'm always this way. If the woman ever threw the insult, my ex found this out the hard way. She used the bedroom scene against me as a weapon, okay? But what she didn't
Hmm.
understand is I lived a life of TFL before her, right? So when
She
she
didn't know what she was dealing with.
when she yep, when she threw that fucking bullshit out there that she's cutting me off, I did her a
Uh-huh.
favor. I did her a favor and I cut her off. And so a month and a half
Uh-huh.
later, she was fucking furious that she couldn't get any. Okay, you know, I flipped that bitch back right around on her and I told her straight out. I says, "Not gonna happen." Okay,
Bill, you are a pimp.
okay, not gonna happen. I says, you know what? I have Mother Thumb and her four offsprings, and they don't talk back. They don't carry diseases. They don't play favoritism. And if you want to throw that out there as a weapon in my face, I'll give you a weapon. You won't get any, and I don't give a shit. She
Hey,
didn't.
Bill, I'm really sorry. My phone's about to die. I just saw that you were coming on, and I wasn't prepared. But I just the spirit moved, and I wanted to come on, but my phone's about to die.
It's about
I'm
to
really
die.
sorry, man.
Hey, well,
Yeah,
I know how that goes.
but yeah, I just wanted to, say hello, and hopefully next time I'll be prepared. Sorry about this, man.
Hey, that's okay.
I
That's
feel bad
okay.
about.
That's the way it
But
goes, right?
yeah, I saw you come on, and I was like, oh shit, Bill's on. Let me get on here. I was out here drinking beers on the back porch, and my phone wasn't charged because I just wasn't planning on coming on. But I saw you come on, and
Well,
yeah, sorry
that's
about
all
that,
right. Hey,
man.
that's okay, guy. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you come on at all. I mean, I do appreciate that. But I'm gonna go on with what I'm talking about here, and maybe we'll hook up
All
again,
right,
huh?
sounds good, Bill. Hopefully you'll have me on again, and maybe one day I can interview you on the Jeff Ashton show.
Yeah. Well, I seen your invite for it, but that's up to you to let me know when. So and how.
Yeah, a lot
So
a lot of times I just go live when the spirit moves, and I guess this is one of my downfalls. A lot of times when I start drinking whiskey, I get the spirit moves and I go live.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, my whiskey
I guess
with
I need to
my
stop
my
that.
my alcohol is Pepsi, and that's with no alcohol in it, by the way. Oh.
I wish I could do the same thing. I actually stopped for the first two months of the year, and then I every now and again I fall off the wagon, and then I don't know why, but when I fall off the wagon, I go live and say the whiskey is poured, the cigarette is lit, it's time to talk.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I
Jeff.
know it's probably irresponsible, but all right. Have a good day, Bill. Thanks
You
so much for
too.
having me on the show.
Oh
Bye.
yeah. Take care of yourself. So anyhow, yep, there we were. You got to hear Jeff Ashton up here with me. For the time he was here, I'm sure that'll disconnect in a little bit. And then you'll see here I am, just me again. Yep. So with that being said, yeah, I thought that was an interesting talk. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this topic, social engineering, because it's in people's face why the behaviors are why the behaviors are. Why men are treating women the way they are, why women are treating men the way they are. And it's behaviors that people got to really learn to control. Because you're not going to shit all over somebody and expect a trophy or a reward for doing it. If you think somehow that you can dump all over somebody and they're going to reward you for treating them lower than dirt, you're out to lunch in your head. And for any man that rewards a woman for bad behavior, he's a complete dumbass. Excuse my language, but he is. You don't reward people for bad behavior. And that's not a gender issue, because if the man's treating the woman like dirt, she shouldn't be rewarding him for that bad behavior. And if she's treating him like dirt, she don't get rewarded for it. No. Drama's the killer of relationships. And drama will destroy a relationship real quick. And today's society is filled full of just that. Drama. People wanting to be mad and act like children and cause drama just because they can. This is the fastest way to destroy a relationship, is through drama. And I get back and I go up to my neck with drama, and I hate drama with a passion. Always have, probably always will. I'm not going to sit and cause drama with somebody because I can, but I'm also not going to put up with it. Okay, and I'll go so far with it before I say, screw you, get out, go, bye, I don't want you in my life. Because I'd rather be alone than live with somebody who wants to do nothing but cause trouble. If you can't live with the moment and just live to live, and without everything becoming an issue, the issue is you, not me, because I'm not going to have an issue over everything. But this is all social engineering, and people really need to realize the extent of what social engineering has done to people. They have to really realize that, when I did the social engineering video the other day where I showed you the guy running around interviewing men and women, can men and women just be friends? It was so in your face. And it couldn't have been more in your face if you tried. It was just straight out in your face. And the ones that answered the question correctly were the women. Every last man in that interview didn't even know what they were talking about. The sad thing is the women may have answered it correctly, but a lot of these women are still going with the other side of the social engineering. And they have actually created a friend zone. And it's the women who done that. Well, unfortunately, what they done was help the powers to be destroy relationships by doing so. That's the reason I posted up the video that I posted up today on this channel, is so that you would get to see it right in your face. Social engineering, right in your face. The foundation to a successful relationship is friendship. The foundation that leads to real love that does exist, just not in today's society. because everybody's going with social engineering, and you will never, ever, ever, ever find true love or real love with anybody going with today's programming, social engineering. If you go back to old school and learn what you're supposed to be doing, and you can become friends with a woman, and she stops using friends as a friend zone and gets her head out of her know what and stops going with the programming, because the programming of social engineering has affected both genders. You have to be friends, because it's only through that friendship that you'll find real love. And that's no lie, that's fact. And it's only through that friendship that you'll ever be successful, that you could ever have a real meaningful relationship. And because you're not compatible with somebody doesn't mean that you still can't be friends. Dating was designed to be exactly what it is, to get to know somebody. Yes, that's correct. What Ron just said is correct. And we have social engineering to thank for that. We really do. And I don't know what to tell you other than the people got to start backing up. And they got to start really paying attention to their own behaviors, men and women alike. And you got to start recognizing right from wrong. If you ever want to break through all this corruption, you have to back up and you have to examine your own self on an individual basis. That includes men and women alike. It's not a gender issue. You have to recognize right from wrong. You have to recognize that dating is not about getting your dick in a hole. It's not about getting laid. A relationship is not about what he can do for me. You as a man do not magically owe a woman nothing because of your gender. Gender roles was man created. It was deliberately done to help divide the genders, and it's done a wonderful job. And you cannot go back and keep bringing up caveman days, because caveman days has been over for hundreds of years. It don't even apply in today's society. Not at all. And when it comes to abuse, no. You don't belong touching, putting your hands on a woman, but she don't belong putting her hands on you. It's the one thing that I'm a firm believer in is you do not touch a woman, but she don't touch you. If she puts her hands on you, you have a right to defend yourself. And I don't care what no politician or what anybody tells me. You as a man have a right to defend yourself against a female. She doesn't have a magical wand in her hand that says she could punch you, slap you, hit you, do whatever she wants to you, and you can't touch her back because you're a man. Bullshit. She slaps you, slap her back. She punches you, punch her back. Blow for blow. She'll stop. I'm not talking about she hits you and then you beat the living shit out of her. No, you don't. You hit her back. That's what I'm talking about. She'll stop when she realizes the repercussions for what she's doing. Because she don't have that right. No more than you have that right as a man. You don't have a right to hit her. Because you're a man, you don't hit a woman. But being a real man also means you don't allow her to hit you. If she hits you, you hit her back. Her gender's not her protection key. That's not some protection zone that says, look, I can do whatever I want to you and you can't do anything back. Because the minute she thinks that way, nope, not at all. Hit me and I'll hit you back. Punch me and I'll punch you back. That's the way it goes. If you don't want punched back, don't punch me. I'll keep my hands to myself as long as you keep your hands to yourself. Drama's got to go. You got to stop freaking being drama queens and kings. Nobody gets all of their wants and nobody ever agrees 100% across the board. I don't care what freaking relationship you're in. If it's a man and a man, and I'm not talking about gay, I'm just talking about friends. Whether it's woman, woman, man, or man, not in a relationship, they're just friends. They don't always agree. And there's no such thing as a relationship where they always agree. It don't exist. If you think it exists, you're living in a bubble. You're living in a mirage. Now you need to pop the bubble and come to reality. And if you think that causing drama all day is going to, at the end of the day, is going to be makeup time with sex in a bedroom, you're living in a bubble. Pop the bubble and climb to reality. Because I don't know many people that want to be treated lower than a piece of dirt all day long and then turn around and make love to the very person who's treated them like dirt. If you treat them like dirt, you don't deserve to have fun with them, so don't think that you're going to make up through sex. Because sex isn't a makeup tool to give you justification to start bullshit the next day with them. That's an illusion. It's like what my ex pulled once. Drama all day long, all day long, all day long. After 12 hours of drama, now she wants to make up by having sex. Then she got mad when I wouldn't have sex with her and says, well, that's how it's done on TV. There's your programming right in your face. That's not reality. Reality is you don't treat somebody lower than dirt and get rewarded for it. Your reward is fuck you. I don't want anything to do with you. That is your reward. Treat me like dirt, get treated like dirt back. If you don't want to be treated like dirt back, then don't treat me like dirt. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, our society is so messed up. But I did put up a video that you should probably watch on social engineering part 2 today. I think it'll give you a good eye opener. They completely destroyed the foundation of a successful relationship. That's right in your face. Because the foundation of a successful relationship is a woman and man have to be able to be friends. There is no such thing as a friend zone. The friend zone is another tool used to destroy the genders, to break up the genders, to divide the genders. And the women chasing 15% of the men anymore, I do believe that's what it is. It's more like an 85% of the women are chasing after 15% of the men. And the rest of the men are fuck you. That's why you have millions of TFLers and millions of incels across the world. It's because of that behavior right there. It's wrong, it's evil, you know, but you have to look at reality for what it is. Yeah, I could go with that. The illusion is over. 70% programming, 30% their fault. Yep. Because they still have to act out of that programming. So you have the ability to back up and think and use your own brain. You have the ability to recognize right from wrong. Anybody and everybody has that ability. It's called critical thinking. It's called recognizing right from wrong. It's called placing yourself in somebody else's shoes. And think about if you're going to say something to somebody or treat them a certain way, would you want to be treated that way yourself? And if your answer to yourself is no, then obviously that means you don't do it to somebody else. It's not that hard to figure out. You have to examine your own self. on an individual basis, men and women alike. And then you have to be honest with yourself. And you have to start taking responsibility for your own actions. On an individual basis, everybody needs to do that. Or if we're ever going to correct anything in society, that's where it has to come from. Because if we don't do it that way, if you can't do it, then don't be whining about the results. I've said it so many times over the years. I've told people the real truth and I've put it in their face. Over and over, I've told them that men and women have to be able to be friends. That dating was designed for two people to get to know one another. It was not designed about, I met her today, we dated for 3 hours and got naked. It's not what Jeff was just talking about. They hooked up for a couple, 3 days, had fun, and then they moved on to somebody else. That is the hookup scene. If you want a meaningful relationship, then it starts with getting to know one another. And then you have to back up and you have to really think about how you treat somebody. Recognize right from wrong. Practice doing unto somebody that what you want done unto yourself. That is not a gender issue. That applies to both men and women. And if one gender thinks they can skip out of that, then they're already corrupt. It doesn't matter who you are, you're not going to skip out of that. And if you think you can skip out of that, then you're already corrupt. They got you right where they want you. You can't be a truther up here speaking out and fighting against NWO, false flags, and on, or fighting against the Masons or any of that stuff if you're not willing to recognize right from wrong. If you can't look at both sides of the spectrum and realize that in the manosphere, the reason we have millions of men across the world live in TFL or incel is because of the very same thing the truthers are fighting, NWO. It's all been socially engineered and deliberately done. Evil is evil and good is good. You're literally in a war of evil versus good. That's literally what you're in. And you cannot play truth as a selective law buffet line where you can select out what you want to fight and what you're not going to fight. It don't work that way. You're either going to fight against evil completely or you just step back and shut your mouth. That's the way I feel about that. If you're over there speaking out against false flags and NWO and the Masons and the wars going on and all this stuff, that's great. But you better be willing to acknowledge the other side of the spectrum, the genders. If you're not willing to acknowledge that and want to blow that off and you're going to play it's a buffet line, then as far as I'm concerned, you should just shut your mouth. Because it's a war of evil versus good. You cannot win a war by fighting part of the war. You're not doing nobody no favors by fighting part of it, not giving a shit about millions of lives affected in another way of evil. Evil is evil and good is good and right is right and wrong is wrong. So I guess with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here, but I wanted to come up here for about an hour or so, do a live stream, talk a little bit about social engineering, and I'm going to remind you one more time, dating is not about getting your dick in a hole. For all these guys that want to sit there and say women and men cannot just be friends, you are going with social engineering and you need to back up and think about what you're doing. You wonder why there's so much domestic abuse? You wonder why the divorce rate's where it's at? You wonder why our society is as messed up as it is? Then get your heads out of you know what. And for you women who want to turn friendship into a friend zone, there is no such thing as a friend zone. Friendship is the foundation of a successful relationship. When you turn it into a friend zone, the only thing you're doing is helping the powers to be destroy the family unit and break up the genders. And with that being said, I'm going to get on out of here, and you all have a good one.